What if the greatest strength a human being can have is not power, but love? Today we will discover why the Messiah taught that only love has the power to shorten the hardest journeys of life. The Messiah revealed us. Only love is the viaticum that shortens the journey and gives strength to humanity so that, with greater readiness, the greatest obstacles may be overcome. Therefore, the more you love, the closer you will be to the liberation of your soul from the chains that bind it to evil and vice, chains that hinder the emancipation of the soul through the blindness they produce and the control they exert over you. Thus it was said, and rightly so, love God above all things and love your neighbor as yourself. Let your actions be moved more by love for your fellow beings than by interest in your own selves. Be certain that whatever you do for your neighbor will be returned to you 100-fold by my Father who is in heaven. We must understand that the Messiah will always be transmitting new knowledge about what love truly is. When he speaks to us about the love of God, he refers to an absolute love, manifested in the life of all the kingdoms of nature. This love is also given to grant us life in the spiritual kingdom, our true kingdom as spiritual beings. For this reason, in this divine cloud of his united return, accompanied by all the spiritual forces of heaven and by all his brother messiahs, he assures us that only love is the viaticum that shortens the journey. All situations that become increasingly difficult to carry out produce within us stress, anguish, and anxiety in the face of the demands of our human responsibilities, especially when those who command them possess a demanding character that overwhelms us with urgency, as if their request had been needed yesterday. The affirmation of the Messiah that only love is viaticum wishes to show us that when he lived as a human being in the body of the man Jesus, and when he was imprisoned and perceived that he would be scourged by professional executioners, he directed the entire feeling of his being with the greatest intensity toward his Father. Through this disposition of loving God even above those lashes, he manifested a teaching, a master lesson for all future humanity, a call to resignation and spiritual acceptance. As soon as his soul produced a sincere love without duplicity, without calculation, simply to love, he was surrounded by the powers of heaven and by his brother messiahs, who strengthened the cells of his physical body so that he could endure the insults and suffering inflicted by his executioners. This represented for the Messiah that the greater the pain, the greater the intensity of love, loving even his executioners, for they did not know what they were doing. This unity of love had already been prepared during the 40 days in the desert of Jericho, where he moved the unitive love with God, reducing the dominance of human personality in order to feel, love, and unite with the Father through the full sentiment of his soul. Through his actions he demonstrated in practice how his teaching should be understood. Only love is the viaticum that shortens the journey. In this way he hoped that his brothers and sisters of future times, which is our present time, would understand that this love is the help that comes to us from the love of the Creator as a spiritual viaticum, which gives strength to humanity so that the greatest obstacles may be overcome with greater readiness. These helps manifest through the presence of spiritual forces, spirits of God sent by the Creator who support human redemption among the billions of beings incarnated across the earth. Through his example, he shows us how to love even those who harm us, those who do not love us, before judging them for their ignorance. For this spiritual backwardness of humanity was one of the reasons he accepted that martyrdom. Normally the human mind that does not love already thinks of revenge, and this, by the law of cause and effect, compels repeated incarnations within the same errors. Later he tells us, the more you love, the closer you will be to the liberation of your soul from the chains that bind it to evil and vice and hinder its emancipation. With this teaching he tells us that with the love that currently flows from us we obtain the same results as always. If we desire better outcomes, we must love a little more. It is almost as if this were a mathematical theorem. The solution to our difficult situations in life is directly proportional to the love we are capable of moving freely. So much so that he assures us that, according to the intensity of the love we move, we may liberate our soul. As mentioned in the video Universal Religion 07, moving love becomes justice and constitutes the universal love that elevates us toward the Father, who calls us to seek happiness through the freedom of our soul. Indeed, only through love will humanity be saved. That is why he tells us once again that this is the only path to free ourselves from physical influence, which prevents our soul from exercising the love toward God that he wishes to teach us, whose fruits will fill our lives with spiritual happiness. These impulses of the human body often produce blindness through their material dominance over our spirit. When he says, "Let your actions be moved more by love toward your fellow beings than by interest in your own selves. Be certain that whatever you do for your neighbor will be returned to you 100-fold by my Father who is in heaven." He reminds us again that the most important thing in our lives is to maintain love for our fellow beings above interest in ourselves. A true love must be given without expecting anything in return. Yet often we secretly wait to receive something back, perhaps not something material, but praise, recognition, or appreciation. This personalistic energy lowers the vibration of what we believe to be love, reducing it to interest in ourselves. If this message touched your heart, consider subscribing so we can continue sharing these spiritual teachings together. The mother's mission. When this sincere love is directed toward the family, especially within the mission of every mother, it manifests without self-interest. From the moment a newborn enters life, the mother begins caring for the child with the hope that the baby will grow in good health, providing proper nourishment, monitoring growth and weight, ensuring vaccinations, and offering all the maternal attention she can give. From the very first hours of life, the mother assumes her greatest role. She becomes the being most directly connected to the child and carries the responsibility of transmitting information that the child's spirit will begin to register. These impressions will form the foundations of development within the child's instrument, the brain, creating references that will later help respond to the situations of physical life. The mother may feel that her child depends entirely upon her, as if they were alone together. In that moment her responsibility stands above that of father, grandmother, or any other family member. She should trust that she knows what must be done and apply herself to learning and growing through this sacred responsibility of motherhood. Family members should understand that they must not interfere in this bond of dependence between mother and child, but rather support her. This is the moment to fulfill the command. Love your fellow beings more than your own personal interest. Maintain a vibration of love in unity with the child, intense and constant. Respect the child's freedom, which is the law of individual liberty of the being, guiding it gently until the child becomes ready to exercise it. Speak naturally to the child, as one being to another, not as if the child were inferior. The spirit of the child is already assimilating what is said. Avoid diminutives, speak with clear and natural language so the child forms clear concepts that harmonize the mind with the spirit. Forming correct habits is essential. Explain simply what you do and why you do it. At moments during the day, maintain a conscious connection with the being of light of the child and ask inwardly if everything is going well. Before sleep, connect with the child's spiritual protector and with your own, asking for their help in protecting the child during rest. Respect the child's rhythms, food, rest, and calmness, avoiding excessive handling or affection as if the child were a toy. The baby is registering everything that it perceives and feels. What should be registered are correct and harmonious impressions that will form balanced images for the future. At all times remember that the child is a spiritual being with its own evolutionary level, coming to develop a lesson within life on this planet. Spiritual life is eternal because of our resemblance to our Creator and because of our immortal soul. At birth the soul becomes covered by a fine veil, while the spirit continues learning and preparing its development through the physical mind and brain. The soul awakens from this state only through the freedom of the spirit, discovering its origin in God and loving the Creator. Only then will the divine light, the spiritual viaticum, illuminate human life and bring freedom to the soul. If the mother maintains her vibration of love in affinity with her child, this bond of love will awaken the freedom of the child's soul. May love guide your path, strengthen your soul, and bring you closer to the divine light.